So I was sitting down with my first grader, helping him out with some homework the other day, and his assignment was to write a short story. So I was trying to help him figure out how to structure a story, and the very basic. This is how I explain story structure to my first grader, right? There's kind of 3 stages to a basic story. All right, so you have happy, sad, glad. And you have this progression of the story. So this line essentially represents status quo. You have some sort of character who is doing fine, life as it is, and then there's some sort of event that puts them into the state of sadness or despair, some sort of problem that strikes. And then at some point in the story, there's resolution, and then there's satisfaction, right? So if you think about those 3 stages of the story process, it can be applied to anything, especially when we talk about brand communications as well as market research. And I think a lot of market research tends to focus on one particular stage of the story. You have a lot of product research that's focused on identifying problems and pain points. So they are very focused on one element of the story, right? You might have brand perception research that is very much about the experience people have with a product and how that compares to competitors. But to really understand how to get a brand to be truly loved and adopted by a consumer, you have to understand the entire story, the entire journey that they're going through, and make sure that you are providing value and meeting the consumer with empathy at every stage of the process. And as I was working through this assignment with my son, I just felt like this was a very simple way of thinking about, how do we make sure that we understand the entire journey that consumers go through? Because if you only get one little piece of the puzzle, it might help you in a very tactical way, but to build a brand that consumers really love, you have to understand the entire journey that they go through and make sure that you are an ally for them at every step of the process. So next time you're working on developing a brand strategy, you're doing consumer research, again, you want to make sure you thoroughly understand every part of the process that consumers go through and the role that the brand could potentially play in that process.